Okay folks, so this is video number 2 on laminating boards. So what I've got here, Dad, if you want to pan down, what I've got here is I've got my 4 boards and I've already run them through my joiner, so I'm going to get a nice tight edge on there. And so you want to do that, and again you want to make sure that you've got a pretty clean surface to work on, especially something that's going to cover your table, because when this Gorilla Glue starts dripping on there, you don't want it on anything that you want to keep in good shape. You want to be able to throw it away. So now my end board is going to end up somewhere around 12 by 24. So I've cut my pieces a couple inches longer than that. I've cut these at about 26 or thereabouts. They're not exact, but at least a couple inches longer so I can trim off the edges. They're about 3 inches wide, so I know I'm going to have somewhere around a 12 by 24 board. So just keep that in mind. You always want to cut a couple inches longer than your final board is going to be. So what I'm going to do with this Gorilla Glue, one of the things that makes it kind of tricky is that you have to wet the edges of the boards that you're going to laminate. So I've just got an old rag here, and I've just got some water. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to put glue on that top edge, but I am going to put glue here.
Water.
Yeah, but I'm going to put glue, so I'm getting water on both those edges, because there's going to be glue on both sides of that one. There's going to be glue on both sides of this one. And then the top side of that one. Now you'll notice, if you look close, you'll notice an F on each one of these boards, and I pointed them that way because that's the face of my sign. I want to be looking at the front part of my sign, unless it's two-sided, but I definitely want to mark these so when I put that glue down, I know I want those, when I set those boards down, I don't want to set it with that F down, I want to set it with that F up. Or you can make any kind of mark, whatever you like. So I'm going to go ahead and put the glue on there. Let's hope we get this in the first pass. So what I do, I'm going to put the glue there. I'm going to put the glue here. So I like to glue both edges if I can, but since I've got multiple boards here, in some of them, I'm only going to be able to glue the one side because I can't flip it over and put glue on the bottom side, because then it becomes a real mess. And I found that out the hard way. So now this glue, what happens is I'm going to spread it out here because I like to make absolutely sure that glue gets to the edge of my board. So even though this Gorilla Glue expands, I still want to make absolutely sure that I got no gaps on the edge. So, and this glue, once it hits that water, those moist edges, what happens is it starts a chemical reaction, and it starts to kind of foam up. And that takes a few minutes. So after we get this spread out, it'll probably be another couple minutes or so before they're ready to actually stick together. And again, this is the cumbersome part of the Gorilla Glue that it took me a while to kind of get the hang of. But once you kind of get used to your process, it's not too bad. So you can see right now, this right in this area on that bottom board, it's already starting to foam up a little bit. It's already starting to get that catalyst going in there. But we're going to go ahead and shut the camera off and give it a couple more minutes before we clamp these together. Okay guys, so this stuff is already, you can see it's kind of, I don't know if you can get in there, Dad, and see how that stuff is kind of foaming up. It's kind of getting a white look to it. So we need to get this glued right now. So I'm going to try and keep those all kind of centered. Now what I'm going to do is just put a little pressure on there. Kind of push them down. Normally I do this with gloves on. I don't know why I don't have my gloves on, but I didn't put them on. Now, this is where that wax paper comes into play. I'm going to put wax paper on the top and the bottom side of these. That wax paper or parchment paper. Then I'm going to put these little things. Now, the reason I do this is because I don't have a big planer, and I don't have a big time saver sander. So I want my edges, I want them as flat as I can possibly get them. Now if you've got a big planer and you can run this through a big planer, you're all good. You don't need it. You don't need to do this because you've got plenty of
and the reason for the wax paper is so that those little boards won't stick to the
that's correct.
to the
yeah.
main
Yeah.
the surface of the sign.
And I learned that, actually, I got that idea from Jimmy Huddleston. Any of you that are part of our woodworking group on Facebook that Mike Fellabaum set up, oh my gosh, I'm out of wax paper. I only cut 2 rather than 4. Hang with me, guys. Gosh darn it. Ad-lib here. Anyway, so Jimmy Huddleston makes some amazing furniture, and he laminates boards all the time. And I kind of learned this little trick from him, and it works really, really well. So now, kind of ad-libbing here, guys. Sorry about that. That's the thing, is sometimes you gotta kind of keep this thing moving. End up doing my shirt. Are you getting all this, Dad?
Yeah. Yeah, it's coming out good, son.
So these little clamps, I kind of like these little clamps most of the time. Sometimes they get a little bit tricky. So all I'm using these for, the only reason I'm really doing this is to keep my edges on those laminations, to try and keep them as even as possible, so that when everything comes apart, that that I know that I've got pretty good laminations. So now we're just going to clamp that all down. See the way that stuff is expanding? That's what I really like about the Gorilla Glue, is it expands. And I'm just going to kind of wipe off some excess here. Just saves a little bit of sanding and a little bit of cleanup when it's all done. That stuff is going to keep expanding for the next hour or so, probably. Okay, now
the bottom
yeah.
shows that it's dripping onto the cardboard.
Yeah,
Are
absolutely.
you going to turn that over?
I'm
and
going to
clean
turn
the
it
other
over
side?
right now and scrape the bottom of that. Hopefully you can still kind of get me on
Can you
camera.
turn that just a little, son, so that they can see all that?
Can you get that part of it?
Yeah, that's great.
And don't worry about it getting on your clamps and all that. The stuff becomes kind of foamy. You can clean up what you want to clean up off there. That's fine while it's wet. But even if it dries on there, don't sweat that. It comes off nice. It comes off real nice. So now that's going to set for about what?
I was just going to say, you're going to clean your table off there?
Yeah, I can. That'll set there for a minute. So this is the reason you want to have a piece of cardboard or something down. You don't want to do this on a table that that you don't want stuff on. So now what I'll do is probably just cinch those down just a little bit more and squeeze out a little bit more of that. And I'm going to let that sit for till tomorrow. And then tomorrow I'll take all those clamps off. These things should just pop right off of there, and it sands up nice and easy, and you got a good board. That's pretty much all there is to it, guys. You just have to get your process down. Make sure that when you do it, are we still recording, Dad?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Make sure that when you do this, you prepare ahead of time as much as you possibly can. Like, not have to worry about cutting this parchment paper after you realize you don't have enough of it, like I just did. So just prepare as much as you can. Try to have as much room around you as you can. And it's really not that big a deal. Once you get your process down and you've done it a few times, it's not that big a deal. This Gorilla Glue, though, I wish I'd had my gloves on. This stuff is nasty. I'll have to use some kind of solvent now to clean my hands. With the white glue, on the other hand, water, hot water and a little soap, and you're good to go. But I really, again, you can see how that stuff is still expanding. And it's gonna, when that dries up, I won't have any gaps in there whatsoever that I'll have to putty. With a white glue, sometimes it contracts, and you got to putty up little spots and stuff, which is, again, is no big deal. But I really like this Gorilla Glue now that I'm used to using it. Okay, doke, guys. I guess that's about it. What am I forgetting, Dad?
I think you pretty much covered it all, son.
Check out our Facebook group. Again, Jimmy Huddleston on our Facebook group makes amazing furniture. And now that Facebook group is, it should be in the description on this video, but I think it's handcrafted wood products or something like that. The group that Mike Fellabaum set up, and there's some great stuff on there. Unbelievable artwork and scroll work and just some really cool stuff. So check that out, guys. You get a lot of really good information on that. Okay, I think I'm going to show you another video on laminating boards, a different process. So we'll get on to that next time.